Holy hell, ladies and gentlemen, there are so many changes on the PTR. In fact, this is probably one of the best PTR patches we've ever seen. This is crazy. In this video, though, let's talk about the Hanzo and the Widowmaker nerfs. But before we get onto that, check this out. There are actually some very nice kind of general updates. Look at this. Added under attack voice lines for Zenyatta, Lucio, and Moira. That means you can go under attack. That's so cool. That is absolutely cool. Anyway, let's talk about Widowmaker. All right, check this out. So, grappling hook. Cooldown increased from 8 to 10 seconds. Developer comments, the increased cooldown will slightly reduce the frequency that Widowmaker can reposition herself. All right, then. So, this is literally the actual nerf that Widowmaker needs. Is it enough, though? Well, we'll discuss that in a second. But I think if you look at things like reducing her damage output, reducing her HP and things like that, I don't think any of that works, right? Widowmaker is a fun hero to play. She's very rewarding if you land those shots. The problem is, she is the sniper hero. She's the long-range hero that does instant hit scan damage and can delete you from the game. But guess what? She's also got an ability which every 8 seconds she can just jump away. That's crazy, right? That's absolutely crazy. Why that's been in the game for as long as it has with that cooldown is baffling to me, because that should be her weakness, right? She gets jumped upon, she can't escape, right? She shouldn't have that frequency of escape. The thing is, grappling hook is a core part of her kit, and it is good to use, right? So there's a balance. Now, is this enough of a nerf? When you look at the title of this video, I asked the question, is the double sniper meta dead? Widowmaker's still going to be really strong. It just means that you need to be a little bit more careful. It means you've got an extra 2 seconds, really, of downtime. You do feel it when you play Widow. I play a little bit of Widow myself, but even I'm feeling it. It's like, oh, I should have grapple now, but I don't have it. The thing is, though, as you guys are seeing in this video clip here, if you still get the headshots, you're still Widowmaker, you're still doing the damage, you've still got that power, that potency to just delete people from the game. So even though this is a good nerf for Widow, and it's a fair nerf, a very fair nerf, will it be enough to stop people using Widow? I think a lot of this comes down to looking at other buffs and nerfs that are hitting other characters as well. Not just about looking at the sort of the nerf in the enclosed environment of Widowmaker herself, which it doesn't really make that much difference. In a way, it's very similar to the Mercy changes we've got, which I do have a video I'm working on that, just to explain what's going on there. But they're minor nerfs. They're not huge. They don't destroy the hero. The hero is still very much playable. Also, I've got no idea where that hog came from. I didn't even hear him. I was just like, what? And then he killed me. Right. Let's talk about Hanzo. So, Hanzo. Yeah, they've increased the cooldown on his lunge by 1 second. I like this because this, like, again, Hanzo's problem is Widowmaker's problem, where he's very mobile and he outputs a lot of damage. The problem is, I don't think this nerf actually addresses the main issue with Hanzo, and that is Hanzo's E ability. It's storm arrows, it puts out a lot of damage, and it's just Hanzo in general. He's very good at outputting lots and lots of damage. Lots of shots going down range, doing tons and tons of damage, deleting people from the game. It's like we always say, the best thing you can do in Overwatch is kill somebody. Widowmaker and Hanzo, they kill people. Hanzo outputs a ton of damage. I mean, he can delete tanks. You look at heroes like Hammond, which you can see in this gameplay footage here. Probably going to be a lot of Hammond being used in competitive when he hits the servers, and even just in quick play. Well, I think he hits quick play next week, but when he hits competitive, we'll see a lot of him. Well, Hanzo's really damn good against smashing the tanks. The difference with Hanzo and Widowmaker is Hanzo can just function inside of the team. He doesn't really rely as such on flanking, on pinpoint accuracy. It's just firing. It's playing the game of averages. Storm arrows is a great ability to play this game of averages because you can just ram shots down range and just delete people. And that's exactly what happens. If we take a look at this gameplay clip here, which remember, this is PTR, so this is the nerfed Hanzo with his lunge ability. Yeah, I've got to be honest, I don't actually feel any different when I'm playing him. It's like, okay, 1 second. It's like I'm spamming spacebar to jump. Oh, it's not ready. Oh, it's ready. It doesn't really make much difference, to be fair. Storm arrows is the problem. So when I say the PTR changes are good, they are. But Hanzo still has a way to go, I think, until he sort of gets calmed down. So what's the deal with the double sniper meta? Now, you guys may have seen this in your games. If you've not seen it in your games, you've definitely seen it when you've watched Overwatch League. If you haven't watched Overwatch League, and maybe you just play at, like, I don't know, Master and above, probably in Diamond as well, you see a lot of this. Widow and Hanzo can completely carry games, especially Widow, but Hanzo can do it as well. If you've got a good Hanzo, the enemy team don't. If you've got a good Widow, the enemy team don't. Your team generally win, and that's not that good. I don't think in terms of balance for a team-based game. Now, the biggest issue with Widowmaker is her mobility, and they are trying to address that, so it's a step in the right direction. Hanzo's mobility, it's almost like they've done a mobility pass on the sniper heroes, because look, we want them to die. We don't want them to be able to jump out of engagements, because that doesn't really make any sense. You know, I touched on this at the start of the video. If you jump onto a sniper, it should not be able to run away from you. Currently, both can. And they are starting to nerf that, which is a good sign. It shows understanding of the core issues that I think the game face, and that's obviously great. And of course, the developers know what they're doing, right? All of the changes on the PTR are in the right direction, and that's an absolutely huge thing. So let's just go back to what you're seeing on the screen here with me playing Hanzo. Now, this map, or this point on Oasis, I think this is Gardens, is very good for Hanzo, because again, it's this idea of a lot of chokes. Hanzo can just spam shots down the chokes. He doesn't really have much in the way of, like, it's not that easy to contest him. Now, sure, this is PTR. No doubt you can see the enemy team's comp is a little bit iffy. You know, they've got a Mei, they've got a Torbjorn, and a Symmetra. So, I mean, yeah, not great. Nothing really contesting me, and it's just letting me do damage. Now, if we look at that, or we sort of think about that in a more competitive environment, are these buffs enough for us to stop playing Hanzo? Or these nerfs even enough? I don't think they are. Like, I think Hanzo is going to be in a very strong position until they really do something to Storm Arrow. The question is, what do you do to Storm Arrow? Because it is now a key part of Hanzo's kit. When we go back to Scatter Arrow, that was horrific because it would just delete you from the game. Nobody likes that. Storm Arrow is kind of the same thing, although it takes a little bit more accuracy from the Hanzo player, and also there is a potential to maybe get away from it. Big issue is when you've got like a Tracer or a Genji and they try and get near you and you activate Storm Arrows, you become quite, not invincible, but you become very deadly. Now, Storm Arrows gets activated in like kind of one of two scenarios. The first one is, and this is a really bad Hanzo. I was like, yeah, we've won. As you'll see, ladies and gentlemen, we did not win this point, and I totally throw it. Anyway, when you look at Hanzo, and you look at Storm Arrows, and you look at the times you use it, there are two times in my head you use this. The first time is if you see a big, fat, juicy tank target, right? And I guess you could attach to this, you want to just spam down a choke, so that's kind of the first reason you would use it, right? The second reason you use it is you know there is a Tracer, there is a Genji, there is maybe a Sombra, there is something which could possibly harass you from behind. You save Storm Arrows. When that target jumps onto you, you activate Storm Arrows and you spray in their direction. Now, it's not a guaranteed kill. It isn't like Scatter Arrow, which was better than Storm Arrows, because if Tracer got near you, you would Scatter Arrow into the ground and it would pretty much 80% of the time kill the Tracer straight away. Now, though, you have to just spray and fire at it, but it's still effective, right? If I was to go with my made-up percentages, I'm still going to say it's like 60 or 70% effective. Still very, very effective. And, of course, now you've got the lunge ability. Yes, it's been nerfed by 1 second, so you get dove upon, you can spray arrows, you can jump back, you've got a lot of options, right? Which, again, goes against the idea of a sniper. The whole reason of a sniper should be you are caught at close range, you are at a massive disadvantage, unless you pull off a ridiculous headshot. We've all seen the pro Widowmakers when they land that absolute peach. Like, we've seen Taimu, we've seen Soon, we've seen Birdring. We've seen these players land the headshot at point-blank range. That is ridiculous levels of skill to do that. And that's fair play. That's just like, whatever. If you're going to do that, that's fine. Hanzo doesn't feel like that, though, right? Hanzo's like, haha, Storm Arrows, spray, spray, spray. One of the reasons, not a reason, but one of the ways I like to look at Hanzo and judge his sort of effectiveness is me, right? I am not the best DPS player in the world, but when I play Hanzo, I can be really, 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 really effective, and that worries me a little bit. Yet, I am getting used to playing Hanzo. I think Hanzo's a little bit more, he sort of relies more on maybe strategic decisions, but I don't think they're very difficult strategic decisions. So, decisions of, where should I be firing? Should I just be spamming down this choke? Should I be looking for the tank? Where should I use my Sonic Arrow? Things like that I don't think are too difficult to learn with Hanzo. Provided you've got a decent level of aim, you pull the Hanzo out, you're going to be doing quite a considerable amount of work. Now, we rein that back in and we come back and we look at the Widowmaker. Because remember, double sniper is the best meta in this game right now if you've got snipers that can actually aim. If you've got them, you will do loads of damage and generally you'll just beat the enemy team, or almost comprehensively. Widow has the option of grappling out when she's dove upon. The issue with Widow is it takes a high amount of skill to actually kill that Tracer. A lot of time, if the Tracer, if the Winston, if the Diva, if the, insert any dive hero, anybody with movement abilities, the Doomfist, whatever, gets close to the Widow, her only option is to try and find somewhere very fast to grapple away. And when she does that, the other person then has to carry on chasing her. The thing is, even right now on live, typically anybody who's diving on the Widow, their cooldowns will come up before Widow's grapple comes up again, so they can chase her, right? So they should kill her, unless she gets that clutch headshot. So the nerf to grappling hook, I think, is all right, but I still think it's not... maybe it needs a little bit more, because I still think it is a bit silly in my head that Widow can just get out of these scenarios. And then we look at Hanzo. Hanzo doesn't really have that kind of an issue because he's very dangerous to tanks or anybody that wants to get near him. So when I look at these nerfs, and if I'm to recap what's going on here, I am almost certain here that in my head, Hanzo still needs looking at. Hanzo is still the more powerful of the two for the average player. For the pro level player, yeah, they're going to play. They want the Widow, right? If it comes down to a decision between either one of these, they're going to take the Widow because they've got the accuracy. But I've got news for you guys. Pros are like literally nobody when it comes to the game's population. Even master players, grandmaster players are not. Master players are a very small amount of the community. So we can't really deal in absolutes and go, oh yeah, Widow is just massively OP. We've all been in games where Widow's dominated us. More often than not, that's because she's got good aim. It's not because of her grappling hook. However, it still needs to be looked at. So Hanzo is more effective for the lesser player, for the average player, and that's where it's a little bit worrying for me. Obviously, as well, he combos very well with Zarya. Zarya has been changed on the PTR. Again, we'll cover that in a separate video because there are literally so much going on the PTR. But what I want you guys to do to end this video is let me know what you think about this, and do send your thoughts through to me on @UnitLostGaming on Twitter, because this is a really huge PTR patch. And if you want to speak about any of the other topics that are going on in the PTR, all of the changes, then just hit me up with them. What I'm trying to do is go through the more sort of important ones first. That's why we spoke about the Mercy changes last night, and we spoke about, or we are speaking about the changes for what could potentially change up the double sniper meta, because Hanzo and Widow do need nerfs, and these are definitely nerfs in the right direction. All right, guys, I've been Stylosa. This is Unit Lost. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, then remember you can follow me on Twitter, which is @UnitLostGaming, and I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. Toodaloo.